talk today about, we were talking about the injuries, and are there more injuries now than there was? And he says the guys today think that they have to go for absolutely everything at every shot, every match, and whatever, and they shouldn't feel that way. And your takes?
Well, Max was one of the smartest players that ever played on the court. Mentally, he was one of the toughest guys. He rarely beat himself, and so he's a guy that you should take. People should pay attention to. But I'll give you one example to support what he's saying. When Del Potro played Federer at the Open final, into the third and the last couple sets, he was serving like 100 miles an hour. He completely just took everything off his serve and basically spun it in. But he actually threw Federer, and he sort of gave him he was reeling from whatever was going on, but he changed gears, and it sort of got him back into doing something different. And so that's, why did Nadal win the Australian? To me, it was because he did a better job volleying. There were some critical volleys at huge moments in that match against Federer. Why did Federer win the Open last year? To me, it's because he was struggling. He won the Olympic doubles. All of a sudden, he was coming to net more, and he was a different guy. He was willing to take chances. I think that these guys, the best guys, incorporated obviously better. Why is Murray not won one? In my opinion, he gets a little defensive at the big moments, especially against the big guys, when he's got to really take it. That's when he should use. He's got some great hands, but he's not used it yet in those two matches with Federer. But Federer is amazing, so he senses that he's tight. So it's not. I'm not saying it's easy, but you've got to believe in that. And I don't think he'll do it until he does that. But if he does, I believe he'd be capable of winning one.
People say as you get older, you don't lose the feel, that the racket skills, the hands. But in your case, how have you been able to sustain the movement, the anticipation, the balance, and all? Is that just experience, knowing where to be, or how have you not really lost?
I'm not really sure, but I mean, I consistently try to work at it as far as keeping I try to keep my body working regularly so that I can possibly be able to. I mean, the whole time I saw that I had obviously a pretty favorable draw. So the whole time to me was I'm going to try to be my best. That was my goal, to be my best today. But I put out more, and Matt's played a lot better than I thought. So that threw me a bit. But you have to work out regularly, no matter who you play, even if it's guys that aren't in great shape, like a couple of guys I played, you still have to put out because you got to play 4 days in a row. That's the tough part. I'd rather play one, or play a match, take a day off, play a match. That could potentially be better for me. But I try to support the tour and the idea of getting more guys out there. And in order to do that, sometimes I'll pay a price. But generally, I think that the way I was taught to move has been beneficial later. The way that I move, the balance. So what people don't realize now is a lot of these guys, they don't have good balance. And kids don't have good balance. And that's so important because you can change gears and move. And I've done a pretty good job of keeping that.
You're starting this academy now in Randall's Island. Do you think you're going to be able to teach young players how to move the way you would?
We're going to find out. We're going to see if it's just sort of, I was lucky, and so I was very well taught. I'd like to think that I'm going to do a better job at that, because that is absolutely the goal, to get tennis, some excitement in tennis again in New York. Because when I grew up, there was a lot of good guys.
John, would you come back here next year? Barron owns the Champions Tour event in Florida. Would you come back again, or is it too soon to even think about it?
It's too soon to think about it, but if I was able to even think for a moment that I could play as well as I did today and feel good, it would definitely be a possibility. But who knows what's going to happen? There's other guys. I mean, I've been doing this 15, 16 years, and my goal was to bridge the gap between me, Jimmy, and Bjorn. And Lendl really never played because of the back thing. Two guys like Pete, Andre, Pat, and to see what. Ultimately, it's up to them at this point. But the fact that I can still go out there, I feel like I play well and move well, and guys don't move forward real well. So that's a good. They look at, they're like, God, that's weird. So that's something that comes so natural to us. So we look at these guys and we think, what are they doing wasting their time, wasting their energy back there? You know, when I see some of these guys play, I'm like, what in God's name are you doing?